Hi, this is Jed with Forex Strategy Secrets. Welcome. We are looking forward to a take charge moment here, and the workshop today is all about that taking charge. I want to make sure that we do a little bit of housekeeping here. If you have questions, just hold them to the end, and we will work through them as I get through with the presentation. I'm going to be straight and to the point and make this very succinct. What we have here, I just barely entered two positions, one in the pound yen going long and one in the pound CAD. Part of my trade management is on my other screen, so you're only going to see one part of this here. I'm watching for the pound Aussie to possibly set up too. So in the middle of this presentation, you might see me do a little bit of trading here and managing wins, losses, whatever happens with these trades. What I want to focus on today was helping traders understand, one, how to find the trend, and how to know whether they're in a transition zone, coming out of a trend, going into channeling, or out of channeling into transitioning. And I'll make this a quick workshop, give you something to chew on for a while, and think about the process. So what I'm going to do, for the sake of managing these trades, I'm going to move one of these off of the charts so I have room. And actually I might move them both off so I can manage on this other screen while I'm talking, and just show you a few things while we're looking through the process here of trading these. Let me get them off of my screen. There. And I'll leave this one right here so I can kind of have a little bead on it. So we'll see her there. So this I want to use for our example. Alright. When we're looking for and mainly your focus needs to be on the 5-minute and 15-minute time frames. Yes, you're going to want to know what the 1 hour is doing, and yes, you're going to want to know what the 1 minute is doing, but you don't need to spend a lot of time in either of those time frames because you can do a lot of the management from both the 5 and the 15. In this particular situation, we can see that we're in a long trend. At this point, I'm looking for my entries to be based off of it crossing this moving average. This is our 5-minute moving average. And then if I go to the 15-minute, this is our 15-minute moving average. Okay, the general trend looks like it's pulling up. We have a good cross here on these moving averages to let us know that we are in an uptrend potential, and we did get a surge earlier today. I caught a little snippet of that in the middle of a 1-minute pair. Anyway, the concept is to always pay attention to your 15-minute moving average. And what angle is it going on? This is our 1 hour, so this tells us that the 1 hour was going short, and so was the 15, but it's actually starting to reverse and give us some long signals. So this is ideal for us to be trading in that long direction, and only take trades in that long direction. Going back down to the 5-minute, when these cross, that gives us our direction to trade as well. So what happened was with this particular trade, was the entry came, and then I started noticing some potential exit signals that actually ended up disappearing, and so I closed it, and then the signals continued on long, so I missed out on the re-entry on this. And to help people avoid that, this is the reason I have this up as an example, is because as you're trading through trends, you want to avoid getting out too soon. And so we find that our filter is very valuable. This is our proprietary indicator here that helps us to determine entry points and exit points. An entry point being in a long direction when it crosses the zero line going long, and an exit point when it crosses going short if we're in a long trade. So the actual trade should have been closed up in this region instead of paying attention to just a color change like I did. Not sure if this was going to maintain a trend pattern, and so that's why I took it as if it was in a channel. So let's talk about what a channel, transitioning from a channel to a trend and from a trend to a channel looks like. Let me pull over a little bit more of an example here. Let me get that off there. Okay, so what we're all my room here. So what happens is one of the things you're going to, the first things you're going to see and notice is your moving average is going to get very tight. That tells you you're in a channel, and obviously everything gets tight, and that's really not hard to determine. That's not rocket science. But how do we know when we're breaking out of one? Okay, the main thing is to look for that 4-bar pattern. Okay, we've got a 4-bar, our filter crossed. Okay, and then we got a color change here, but it didn't change here, so you have to wait until you get that 4-bar pattern right in here. That lets you know that we're now looking at it going long, but it was still below the moving average. When it crossed above the moving average, in this case both, and it did over here and here, the difference is the angle. Okay, once it continues and breaks through that plane, so if you drew a line right here along the top of these fractals, once it breaks that plane, now you know you're coming out of a channel, and this was the transition zone, and now you can start looking for long trends. Okay, so let's look for an example of where you get into a channel and you're coming out of it. Okay, so here's a good example right here. Let me get rid of this line, move it out of the way. So we're in this channel going short, and we can see that that's happening. So what happens is then what you'll notice is you get a push in the direction, then it rests, a push, a rest, a push, a rest, a push, a rest, a push, a rest. So the further it goes into a trend, one of two things is going to happen. It's either going to pull away from the moving average, or it's going to want to shoot back and test the moving average, as you can see in these cases. Every time it bounces off, you know you're still in a trend, and you can take the fresh signal going the short direction all through this period here. Very easy to see. Okay, and what's allowing you to know that you're coming into a transition zone is when you get something like this right here, where it'll pull far away and then just slam right up against the moving average, and then it'll test. Most of the time when it does this right here, it's a good indication that you're heading into a transition zone. Now, it can come out of a transition zone if the trend is strong enough and push it back down. In this case, it didn't. But when it slams hard and then sticks to it, it's like a wet noodle on the wall. That's what you want to start watching for when it comes to looking for going into transition zone. And so at that point, you know that you need to not be trading that trend going short. You need to wait till the transition ends. And when you get this cross on the 5-minute moving averages here and here, that's the beginning of a trend, confirmed. It started over here, but this is where it confirmed, and this is where it is, you're drop dead, I've got to be out. This is telling me it's over. So these are the telltale signs to know when you're coming out of a trend into transition zone. Then it goes into channel mode. And then again, you can see here on the reverse, it breaks short and slams back up against and then breaks through. So this is that same scenario. And then again, let me draw this back here to remind you, when it breaks this plane, you know that you can now be looking for the signals to be trading long. When it breaks this plane right here, you know that you can now start looking. But see, it went kind of in a channel mode here and really didn't give us anything, and so you're waiting and waiting and waiting. It doesn't come back down, and it says it starts testing, then it reverses your search, and so you create this top and bottom on the channel. You can draw these lines and keep track of them, and it'll help you kind of gauge what that looks like, coming out of a downtrend into a channel, or into out of an uptrend into a channel. Doesn't matter either way, or out of a channel into a trend as well. So out of a trend into a channel, out of a channel into a trend. These lines become very valuable to you to be able to manage the point of which time you can start looking for those trends. Again, focusing on not just the 5-minute chart, but the 15-minute chart as well, and keeping track of those scenarios. Taking a look at my trades here real quick. This one's kind of pulled back a little bit. Still is good. Still in a good zone pattern, and we'll see what happens on that one. Okay. Are there any questions to this point? Yeah, great question, Brian. Is it always going to do this right here? Is it always going to pull back, snap back? Not all the time. Sometimes you get it'll trickle back, but when you see this, this is just a good indication that you are dealing with transition taking over, and the zone will weaken, or the trend will weaken. And then what happens is you watch these moving averages as they get closer together. This starts to turn up towards it. You're knowing that the downtrend's over because it's starting to test that, so it'll bottom out like this. Okay, and then you come back to this side, and you can see the same thing here, where it didn't really slam hard, but it was pretty strong pushing that way. As these are crossing back and forth, you're going to see it's trying to determine, do I want to go long, do I want to go short, do I want to go long? So these are all just little indicators to tell you that you're dealing with potential shifts in the trend. They are definitely beginning and ending periods to be paying attention to on that 5-minute chart. Yes, the trend is on the 5-minute is determined by when these cross. Now, when you're in a channel, it becomes irrelevant because it hasn't broken away from it. But when it does break away, that's a very prime position to be confirming, hey, I'm in the right direction going long. If you've entered already on any of these signals that are over in here, you are definitely wanting to stay in long and only trade long in that situation. As you can see here, this you wouldn't want to trade, this you wouldn't want to trade, but you could enter here, 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 and all along here. There were several different entry opportunities right in this area, and then even some up in here. Okay, now a zone is based off the filter right here, the Norwood filter. Long when it crosses, long, enter, close when it crosses, short. And then again, when you do a short trade, short when it short when it crosses, get out when it crosses long. And then come over here, it crosses short, get out, get in, get out, get in, get out. See how that works? Perfect. Well, that's it for this particular session. I didn't want it to be too long and labored. If you are interested in getting into a really good entry-level process of coaching with me, I'm offering a special package right now for those that are interested in discovering how to do this more effectively using the 5-minute and 15-minute. And we go into a lot more depth as far as the different things you need to look for and how to time that, and we talk about what I call a super trend and what I call a confirmation of the trend, and being able to trade those signals based on the strength that comes from that 15-minute time frame and timing your entries on that 5-minute. It's a really powerful workshop. Of course, we spend quite a bit of time working with you. It takes about a month for a student to get through the process with me. I spend quite a bit of time with you behind the scenes and giving you live trading assignments, and then from there we work on you just understanding these principles and just practicing and reporting back to me. If you're interested in finding out more about that, please send me a message to jed@forexstrategysecrets.com, and I will be sure to set that up for you with all the details you need and get you on the calendar. Thank you for your time. I hope this was informative for you, and I appreciate working with you. Look forward to the future. Have a great day.